Hello, I am here to drop in with you all for this week's live. And this week we are focusing on the next step in our journey, which is all about channeling our fire. Okay. So I hope you all have had a positive experience with the inflammation cleanse. Hopefully, it's gotten some things moving for you. I do want to talk about what can happen when we, get some of that inflammation to move out of our bodies. A lot of times what people notice is that they'll feel physically better. Okay. They'll notice a difference in how they're feeling physically, but they're spotting places where they're seeing their fire come forward emotionally or mentally. What does that look like mentally? Mentally, that looks like pitta type insomnia, having your mind suddenly get really active in the late night hours, like around 2 a.m. Okay. Also experiencing pitta insomnia, where you get to sleep, but you find yourself waking up at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and unable to go back to sleep. Often because there's like agitation in the mind, too much on the mind, too much of a pressurized sort of feeling. And then we also are looking at the piece of emotionally, you might notice, yeah, I moved all this inflammation. My body feels so much better. I'm noticing that I'm not physically having the inflammatory conditions that I was before. I'm not having the, just all the, tension physically in my body. But what I am noticing is that I feel really pissed off, raging for order. I am going to pull a card. I'm going to just sort of talk while I shuffle these cards. This is a really cool deck. It's the Kali deck. Okay, this is the back side of it here. All right, and we'll just see who's on the bottom of the deck. Right here, we have Baba Tarini. Baba Tarini, really beautiful. Okay, she's like, hey, hi, it's me, Baba Tarini. I'm here to help you all out. I'm here to help you get to that place where you can get through all this pressure you're feeling and give you those flowers, for a job well done, for all the work that you've done, all that you've cleared, all the injustice you've faced. Okay, I'm really feel this coming in strongly. Okay, so I don't know. There may be some places. Oh, I got sentience. Okay, there may be some places where you sort of feel that you've been through some injustices, that there's some imbalances, that there's some inequities. This may be what the frustration is around that's surfacing now. This may be what the anger is about, feeling like, hey, I did the work, where's my flowers? I did the work, where's my flowers? I did the work to get that crown back on my head. Yeah, I tipped to the side for a little while. I dealt with some shit. Okay, it's real. It's real out here on these streets. It's real out here on these streets, okay? But I did the work. Like, where's my flowers, I got that crescent moon up, I've been getting in touch with my inner goddess, my inner God, I got that chalice, I got it turned up. Where's the jewel of your wisdom? Where's the jewel of your wisdom pouring in? Where is that tempering? It's interesting, red, right? Very fiery, and then it's this blue. It reminds me of a pearl, just the quality of the luster on it, this blue pearl of cooling lunar essence waiting to pour in. And pearls, how are they made? They're made through the grit, right? I feel like y'all are in the grit stage right now, and that's what you're in the process of doing. You're in the process of really working through these challenges. You are working through the grit. And it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. It's agitating. It's frustrating. So what I was going to say is that after you do, the inflammation cleanse, this is what comes through on the other side. The grit. The the grit. You find out what is that thing that's been causing this inflammation in my body, because with Ayurveda, we're looking at mind, body, spirit. All right. It's not just like one piece. We don't look at things in a symptomatic way. We get all the way down to the root. We tap the root for the knowledge in the science of life. Okay. So we know that by the time something is manifested physically, it's already traveled through all the different layers of creation, which is first the, drawing down from the ether, the inception of what is to be manifested. Okay. And it comes in and it gets activated through that air element, which is all about inspiration. Okay. It moves into the area of intellect, and this is where our thoughts are born, right? And there's, to quote, it's a quote from the Bible, but to quote from the Bible, first there was the Word, and the Word was God. Okay. And what that really means is that's the birth, that when that divine essence, that purposeful essence, that higher consciousness essence, whatever you want to view it as, however you relate to it, when you draw that down and it enters the realm of intellect, it becomes a thought, and thoughts are things, and they carry the weight of responsibility. Our thoughts are what begins the actual manifestation process in physical reality, in material reality, because it's coming through the vessel of us, the wand. We are the activating force in physical reality for that higher, awareness, vision that wants to come into fruition, that is born out of that collective consciousness, which is the one consciousness. There is no separation. Okay. There's no separation, right? It's all one energy. We know this. This is scientific, and it's not rocket science. All right. We know this, that everything that we are experiencing is made up of energy, and it's all the same energy. Atoms, positive, negative, neutral energy swirling about, making different forms, coming into fruition and then dissolution. And this is the same journey of man. We are that. We are a reflection of that. We understand that in Ayurveda, right? Macrocosm is reflected in microcosm. So, you have the thought. The thought comes in. The thought's a thing. This is what kicks off the process of manifestation. All right. Visualization. You have the thought, and then what happens? You have the thought, you can then see it, right? You can see it in your mind's eye with that ajna, third eye chakra, which is about hatching the vision. The seed comes in, the seed comes in, and it, germinates within that egg, that's going to crack open and hatch the vision. But it has to pass through these different layers of creation. So after it goes to that air element, it flows into pitta energy. It flows into the fire. All right. It flows into the fire. The fire is the activating force. The fire is the wand pointing. Okay. An action has been determined. This is how the action is to be carried out. All right. And water is also associated with pitta, but the water is more acidic, bilious, like digestive juices, right? Because pitta rules over the digestion, and digestion is a seat of health. But as with all things, when we're looking from an Ayurvedic perspective, we're looking at mind, body, spirit. Mind, body, spirit merged as one, right? There is no separation. The separation is the original lie. It's all interconnected, all of it. We are the microcosm of the greater macrocosm, right? And we're all just little atoms swirling about energy, coming into form, and then shifting, changing form. And that's the process of fire transformation. Fire transmutes. It transmutes energy. You can leave offerings upon the pyre of fire and have them reduced to ash, and ash can be used to scatter on the earth, to incorporate in the land, to plant new seeds, to grow new things, and we start all over again. You know, it's all interconnected. And the water nurtures that. But when we're looking at pitta, we're looking at that more acidic kind of water, right? Like the digestive juices. And so it's about not just digestion of the foods we eat, but it's also about digesting our experiences, digesting our thoughts, digesting our belief systems, you know? And sometimes you need to regurgitate that shit. And that's kind of what it's like. Okay? That's kind of what it's like when you move all the fire out of your body physically. You do an inflammation cleanse, all right? So that by the time it gets to the physical, okay? Because after we go through pitta, after we go through that digestion, assimilation, all right, of our experiences, of our emotions, of our thought processes, you know, then we get to the physical. We get to kapha, earth and water. That's when we see it, you know, rooted in reality, rooted in material reality. So we've addressed the kapha, right, by addressing the physical body, addressing the structure, addressing the structural issues. Okay, we cleansed out this inflammation. We moved all this inflammation from the body. Body feels so much better, right? Body feels much clearer. Body feels more energized. Pain's diminished. You know, more energy, right? But ooh, what's that? It's the undigested emotions, undigested thought processes, undigested experiences that led to that physical manifestation of imbalance through, you know, the condition of your constitution, your present Prakruti, your present condition, your symptoms in Western terminology. But you're seeing what actually put it there. How did it get there? You know, now it's time for this to be channeled, for this to be moved, this energy, the fire. The fire. So when we're looking at fire, too much fire internally that can lead to imbalance, physical imbalance in the body, we're looking at things like internalized anger, pressurized anger, frustration. We're looking at kind of type A personality, very headstrong, my way or the highway, full steam ahead. Nothing's going to stop me, on my hustle, on my grind, getting it, you know, and at the same time losing it. Getting it and losing it because you're just so busy. There's no time for the balance, which is all about that, you know, remembering the water side, to digest experiences, to have space to digest things, integrate things, assimilate things, get clear, figure out your next steps. You know, pitta, when it's really truly in balance, is not just about being the go-getter, being an achiever, having a goal, ambition, charisma, all these things that pitta is known for. It's really also about self-mastery, and self-mastery in the sense of knowing the need to have like the solid foundation in place, knowing how to have the structure that actually allows you to move efficiently, to channel your energy in a wise way. So it's not a destructive force, because fire definitely went, right? Look at this. Sometimes we do burns, right? We sometimes do burns, and they're controlled burns, okay? There's a purpose to them. They serve a purpose, and they don't cause destruction, all right? So that's an example of having containment, okay, around the way that the fire is utilized, the way that the fire is channeled, so it doesn't go out of control, rage out of control, which can quickly happen, right? We see that with wildfires, right? One unconscious act, one unconscious act. Somebody throws a cigarette outside their window near a dry, open field, and what happens? Right? And the destruction it can cause. So it's about having, the ability to managing the output of your fire, and knowing when it's time to contain it, knowing when it's time to, work through your challenges, give yourself an opportunity to be present with yourself, have time to yourself, not be so externally motivated out there getting it, but getting it within. Like, what are you missing right now? What is the emotional work to be done? What is the what are the patterns to break? What are the things that block your path? What are the things that hold you back and create that pressurized feeling, that builds up to that extent, such an extent, unaddressed, that it ends up manifesting as dis-ease in the body, dis-ease, not being at ease, right? Not being in your element, balance within your element. And so this often happens. It's just working through the layers. That's what the healing process is like, really, right? You work through one layer, and you experience the sweetness of that, but then you'll find there's another layer for you. And that layer will take you deeper into your journey of transformation, and you're going to come out the other side different. And I have to say, I was looking out my window when I said that, and right as I said that, this huge dandelion seed head just flew past the window. So, those seeds, those seeds that you planted, they're going to carry you far. This seed, this intention you have, like, I'm ready to step into this place of really owning my fire, bringing it forward in the world, letting me be seen as I am, doing what I'm here to do, living on purpose, activating my purpose, and being willing to step up into that stage of my life, and move into that place where I find my flowers are waiting for me, and I find that, my crown's been readjusted, and I'm back in that place of really feeling connected to my sovereignty, and honoring the work I did to get here, But if you are finding that, you're hitting a little frustration because, I cleared all this inflammation from my physical body, but I still feel like shit because I'm angry, I'm uptight, I got all these fiery emotions, I feel frustrated, that's just the next layer that's coming up to have space held for it, until you get back to that 0 point, right? Which is the start of the fool's journey. Until you get back to that 0 point, you got to work your way back through the layers, remember the chain of manifestation. Okay. So you came out of that coffin. Now you're moving back. Now you're working on digesting your experiences, right? Digesting your experiences and transmuting that energy with the fire, which activates, the inspiration through air, the inspiration through air that, maybe I can look at things a different way. Maybe I want to actually deal with this situation, or my path choice, in a new way. Maybe I want to go in a new direction. Maybe I have a new inspiration I want to bring into fruition. Oh my gosh, I can't make this up. I wish I'd could have 2 cameras going so you could see what's happening outside my window, because whenever I film any video, I always have this happen where there's signs come floating by the window from nature outside, right? It's really wild. But when I talked about that, sort of maybe there's a new inspiration that wants to come in. There was a feather fell down. A feather fell down from in front of my window view. So, You know, who knows? Maybe you'll see some feathers on your path. Notice what your thoughts are doing when you come across feathers on your path. Maybe it's pointing key to like your new inspiration and way forward, and sort of like what is that arrival point? What is the way through where you finally do arrive at that place where you get your flowers from spirit, where spirit puts the crown on your head and says, okay, you did your work. You did your work. Now it's time to really activate your purpose so you can go forward in a clear, unencumbered way, with flow, right? Um, Receiving that pearl of wisdom, that it's about the balance of the fire and water that's part of your constitution, Pitta, and water is all about emotions, right? It's about flow. It's about nurturing, right? So this is like, and digesting specifically for Pitta. Transmutation through digesting. Transmutation through digesting provides nurturing for the manifestation. That's really the message that comes through. Okay, so it's really funny. I was going to pull a card from this deck, but just seeing this here, I mean, it just speaks so strongly. Yeah, it's really beautiful. I just noticed this on on her bra, okay, which is pretty interesting because breasts are about nurturing. We're talking about nurturing, right? But look at these butterfly wings that are on the cups there. It's so beautifully ties in with that message of transformation. And if there is a dream that you've been seeding, if there is a vision that you've been looking to call in, something you're wanting to create in your life, a new level you're ready to step up to, but you understand there's work to be done. Like, it takes a lot of inner work and transformation to truly step into your empowerment, to step onto the purse, to step onto the purse. That I meant to say to step onto the purpose of your path. And that's very interesting, to step on the purse. And for some reason, I just got this image of, the snake being crushed beneath the heel. And and there's interesting stuff in the collective about snake medicine, about snake totem, and I'm looking at my nickname Cobra there. That was given to me from the work that I do, transformational work that I do, connected to working with Ayurveda. And, the snake, it's like, has been sort of vilified, and there's a lot of fear around snakes, right? Just in a societal view. They've been labeled, the deceiver, but a lot of that has to do with, the Bible and the message that's put out there and the effect that that has on people's awareness, how they perceive things. And the reality is, it's very interesting with the Bible because the Bible is largely metaphorical. It speaks in metaphors, and it's all about the journey of alchemy. The Bible is a handbook for the journey of the soul's alchemy, but it's been distorted in the way it's been translated. And actually, the original, writings that have been translated in the Bible, a lot of times have been mistranslated. It's very interesting, this piece that's coming in here, this biblical piece. I think it's very front and center in the collective consciousness right now. And there is a lot of Pitta, elevated Pitta around that, having to do with recent legal changes that have been made in some states around body autonomy. There's a lot of activation around that, right? There's a lot of heated emotions around that out there in the collective consciousness right now. And that's a very pitta emotion, but it requires this need to digest, the experiences and transmute the energy to find a way through. This is looking at pitta energy on kind of a broader scale. It's sort of opening it up into more expansion to understand healing processes and how this energy works. But it is like this piece of moving out of combative energy, moving out of divided energy, moving into more unified energy, making time to hold space for what's really coming up, leaning into the difficult feelings, the difficult emotions, the stuff that's surfacing. Whether that has to do with what's happening to you in your own, little microcosm, of your personal life experiences, the personal challenges you're dealing with, or whether you're feeling the weight of the more global, challenges that are occurring, and how that's affecting the greater whole. There is a lot of energy to move through right now. There is a lot of energy swirling around in the collective in general. So everybody's feeling that, right? Times are very uncertain. Times are very uncertain. And it is important that we hold space for that uncertainty and what it brings up in us, and that we understand if we work with that pitta, fire, water, bilious, acidic water that can digest, that can assimilate, we can activate a vision for a new way forward. We can know what we need to do to move into action. We can create that transformation, whether the transformation we're aiming for is within ourselves, or whether it's out there in the world, to benefit mankind, humankind, nature, all of existence. The reality is, it always begins with us first, right? It begins with our own personal transformation. It begins with us as individuals. And if you're feeling frustrated, if you feel activated, I'm speaking in this, it's coming in, so it must be coming up for some of you. If you're feeling frustrated and activated because you feel like there's so much that's, fucked up in the world, if you feel like there's so much injustice, or there's so much that's wrong and there doesn't seem to be a way forward, you wish you could do something to change things, whether that's in your own little reality tunnel and what you're dealing with in your personal environment, or out there, for the greater whole, it's all the same trip. Because if you don't know what to do, start transforming yourself, start transforming your own life, start transforming your own habits, start aligning your life with what you would like to see out there in the world. There's a reason why there's that saying, be the change you wish to see in the world, right? Who said that? Was that Gandhi who said that? I think so. I'll have to double check, but I believe it was Gandhi who said, be the change you wish to see in the world. And it's true. He was talking about pitta with that. That is pitta energy. That is channeling your fire. Channeling your fire is being the change you wish to see in the world. And so what that requires is a little bit of straightening by fire. Straightening by fire is discipline. It's having a sense of containment. It's creating stability that supports the vision, being mindful of that anything that manifests of worth and value has a strong foundation, and it's rooted in inspiration that comes from something higher in yourself. Whether you view that as your higher consciousness, or you view that as great spirit, or you view that as God, it's all the source of your initial inspiration, that set you on this path, that made you say, I'm ready to transform. I'm ready to heal. I'm ready to step into mastery. So, what's on the other side of that healing? What's on the other side of that mastery? What does that look like? What does that look like? What is it that you're calling in? What reality are you calling in for yourself? What are you looking to create? You know? And when I'm speaking of that, I am speaking very practically because we're looking at, the physical manifestation. Is there a book that you're needing to write because you feel like it can shift consciousness in a way that supports the coming together of humanity? Do you have music that you're wanting to create that has some special message, some words that you feel need to be heard, that need to get out there? Do you have a project you want to work on, that helps provide support to your community, helps provide support to the people around you? How are you wanting to be the change in the world? What are you thinking needs to happen, to be the change in the world? Where do you see the inequities are? How does it need to be balanced? How is that reflected in your own life? What can you do to bring those balance of equities, into your life? How can you be that change? How can you be the balancing point? And creating channels of actually moving into that space of creation, that space of taking the first step out of the crossroads of thinking about it, wanting to create it, seeing what needs to change, but not doing what needs to be done to create the change first within your own life, which has a ripple effect. Do you realize that if every single person that felt in alignment with what they thought needed to change to make the world a better place, if they created that change within the own microcosm of their own lives, how much that would shift the entire reality? The entire reality? Mind blowing. Mind blowing. That's the power of when we come together. We come together through the Ace of Cups, we come together through first drawing in that nurturing from our higher awareness, our higher consciousness, that higher energy, God, spirit, whatever belief construct you want to put around it. Let's tap the root. Let's get back to the root. That's what Ayurveda is about. It's about tapping the essence. You tap the essence, right? You draw it down in that pearl of wisdom, that pearl of knowledge. It brings the balance to that fiery, impetuous pitta. It incorporates both of the elements associated with pitta, fire and water. That activates the transformation. It begins with pouring into you, nurturing in yourself, nurturing in your own life, what you want to see in the world through tangible action. So there's this piece about, it sounds very counterintuitive, but there's this piece about being grateful for the anger, being grateful for the areas where you feel frustrated, being grateful for the places where you feel pent up, like a dam, trying to hold back the tide of that river that's like swelling behind you. That rasa that will flow in and nurture the earth and kapha to create the manifestation. You probably feel the weight of the power of your actions at this time. You're seeing the places where, through digesting these difficult experiences, experiencing frustration, through coming up against your own inner blocks, and how it's affected your life, you're seeing, oh my gosh, I see what needs to be done, and it's a lot to step up to, but be grateful for these pieces that are coming in. Be grateful for those challenges, because these challenges give you an offer. They invite you. Woo! I just looked at the next one. It's on the bottom of the deck behind that. Mahakali. Yeah, baby. Shows you what needs to be cut off, offered, offered to the fire of transformation. Agni. Agni is the fire within. It is your fire. It's owning that fire. Look, she's holding it. She's containing it. She's saying your fire is the offering. Bringing your fire forward is the offering. And you bring it through by cutting off what doesn't serve, that blocks the channel for your fire to be activated, your vision, to come forward in the world. So beautiful. So beautiful. No mud, no lotus. No mud, no lotus. The process of transformation is about rising up out of the muck. So when you find yourself in the muck, when you're feeling frustrated, pent up, held back, chomping at the bit, agitated, when you're in that place of pitta pressurized, holding your fire in because you haven't provided it with an outlet for channeling. And Ted is just like scratching away back here. He's channeling his fire, and he reminds me, one simple thing you can do, okay? Let's give a little quick Ayurvedic self-care to help you move through like the emotional fire that's coming up for you, where the pressurized fire that's coming up for you, the mental agitation that's coming up for you, when you get beyond the physical inflammation that comes through, your dietary choices, those kind of things. You cleared this physical inflammation out of your body with the inflammation cleanse. Now I'm at this other wall of fire. It's like firewall here. I just want to get through the firewall to the other side, man, where I can move into the next stage. I'm tired of being stuck in this place, okay? First thing, when you feel that frustration rise, simple thing, just like Ted, okay, the German Shepherd over here, just take your fingertips, rub them vigorously all over your head, all over your scalp. There's a reason for this, okay? First of all, you have noddy points that connect to all of the meridians, all the energy channels in your body, all the systems of your body, all the organs, everything in your body, all throughout your cranium. And this activates it, okay? And it's stimulating, it allows this openness to occur, okay? It opens up the crown chakra. And what does fire do? Fire rises, okay? So it allows all those like agitated thoughts, all the kind of anger, emotions, all of this stuff to rise up and clear out of the crown. If you did that along with me, just notice, come on, do it with me right now. Just do it, do it and just experience the way it creates this expansion. It takes it out of that pressurized, contracted place, and it changes your inner energetic ecology, okay, to this more like, it moves you into a little bit more of that breathing room. Oh, and it does fabulous things for your hair too, right? So that's one thing you can do, to channel your fire in the moment. All right. But another thing that you can do is just move your body. But I encourage you, when you move your body, there might be the tendency to want to do something really more sort of intense, right? Ted says yes. You might feel the urge to do something more like, I think I just want to go and hit the bag for a bit, or I want to go and do something like, circuit training, or go and hit the CrossFit, or, something that's very pitta to kind of go full steam ahead, right? But if you're already feeling pressurized, you need to remember that piece, right, of bringing in this like this cooling lunar essence. Okay, so I encourage you to do more things like go on a hike where you're surrounded by greenery and the cooling energies of and tempering energies of nature. You know, I'm seeing that temperance card. It balances the fire with the water, right? That's what Pitta needs in order to be in that place of mastery where they can really channel their fire effectively, is to be in this place of balance where they don't forget the other side of their constitution. Pittas are always like, yes, I'm fire. You know, even when you meet a Pitta, they will tell you that I'm fire, you know, I'm associated with fire. There's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of like kind of like pride around it. I'm a Pitta, I'm fire, hear me roar, you know, kind of energy. And I get it. I'm a Pitta dominant. I'm Pitta Vata, okay? I love that, you know, that power of transformation and the activation and the intensity of fire, okay? But there's the other side that we all so often forget. And even if you're not a Pitta type, okay, even if Pitta is not part of your Prakriti, your birth constitution, you still have Pitta. You still have fire inside. We all have this. It's just that your fire is stable. So you're less likely to go, overboard like a lot of us other Pitta Prakritis do. So that's wonderful. It's wonderful to have, you know, very stable Pitta. That's an excellent place to be for sure. All the different doshas have their strengths and they also kind of have like their penalty box, like the challenges they bring. And it's about learning how to work through the challenges by remembering the essential qualities of our elements. What do our elements look like when they're in balance? And you discover that by looking at nature, you know? And especially for Pittas, connecting with nature is very cooling. It's very calming. It's very centering for their spirit. It helps to reconnect them to that, you know, the other side. You know, it's very common for Pitta to be all yang, you know, very outwardly driven, active, doing too much, doing the most. All right, is so Pitta. But with this, you know, this opposite side, the yin, or, you know, we can also look at this as, you know, Shiva energy, Shakti energy. It's about that balance, the yin, the yang, the masculine, the feminine, the Shiva, the Shakti, the active, the receptive, okay? The active, the receptive, the shadow, the light, okay? They're both essential, and it's about being mindful of that. So notice where you've been. Where have you been? Have you been more in your shadow? Have you been more in your light? You know, if you've been in the shadow, it's time to remember the light, you know, and do the transformational work around that and getting down to the brass tacks, which is what Pitta is about, taking the action, doing what needs to be done. So move it out of your physical body, you know, go for a hike in nature, go for a swim, you know, swimming is wonderful for Pittas to move that energy and actually really tangibly get in touch with the other side of their elemental makeup, the water, right? Even just spending time near the water. And I also encourage creativity, you know, creative forms of movement, dance, you know, dance, or maybe playing with acro yoga, you know, just doing creative things, moving the body creatively, or even just free flow movement, you know, just turn on some music and just move however your body wants to move. It doesn't even have to be dance. It's just movement, just letting your body express itself as it wants to move this frustration you're feeling out of your body. Because that is one way that Pitta can really clear their channel, you know, when it gets backed up with stuff that's gone unprocessed, undigested, unassimilated, you know, and has just been kind of like sitting there, holding things up and holding the fire back and creating this inner state of tension. When you release that tension, when you let the physical tension out, it allows the emotions also to clear. You know, they have a channel, that held back fire has a channel to clear, and as it clears, then you get that cooling, that cooling lunar essence comes in. You get the tempering, you get the temperance, you get the balance, and that's when you find the way through. That's when you find the way through. So, very interesting way for this message to come in today. And I did not expect this. And it's funny because I feel there's value for the collective receiving this message that came through. I think it's something that actually will speak to a lot of people right now, just with what's going on with the world today. So I do think that I'm going to share this video kind of as a collective read on Broad Coven, on the Broad Coven YouTube. I just saw a bird fly by the window, so I think that's a message from Spirit. It's like, yes, give this message wings, let it get out there to more people. I think it's really true, and it's kind of a good thing too. It's like, be that change you want to see in the world. Well, to help people know like what Ayurveda is about and how it can transform lives, how we can use it to transform not only our own experience, but really extend that in a ripple effect out to the world around us, and affecting transformation in the greater energy as a whole. I think it's something that is beneficial for everybody right now. So I'm going to channel that fire in that way, and that feels really good to me. And maybe there's something that came through for you today too, a first step that you feel moved to take, to channel your fire, get your message out, let yourself be seen, say what you need to say, that's interesting. Ooh, Sentience, that song, Say What You Need to Say. I don't even know who does that song. I've just heard it, but that song just filtered into my my mind. So go with that thought. All right. Maybe that has something to do with the key to hatching, your vision and finding this channel to funnel that fire of purpose through. All right. So give that song a listen. Look up the lyrics, and I wish you an amazing week of recognition, acknowledgement for the work you've done on your path, what you've done in pursuit of getting to the other side of the stuff that holds you back, and shedding the layers that need to shed, working with that snake medicine of transformation. And with that message that came up earlier, it's weird for it to come like full circle, come roundabout like that. But maybe it's like that message of the purse, stepping on the purse under the heel instead of the snake. Maybe it's about really having a restructuring of perspective in what's seen to have value. What's seen to have value. This feels like a piece for transformation. Are you investing yourself in what gives true wealth? Okay. Or are you really just invested in what amounts to nothing more than chump change? Think about it. Think about how your energy, how you invest your energy, how that's a currency too. It's really important, and it's time to restructure, revision, review the ways that you've allowed that to be a limitation. The ways that you've been investing your energy in certain things has been a limitation that limits the activation of your true purpose. And through crushing it, you're transforming that energy with the serpent energy, which is all about transformation, shedding old skins. right? The snake sheds its skin. It's still a snake, but it's brand new. So I think you're going to get a brand new view. And I think there's something new that you're going to be investing in. Something new that you're going to be investing in that's really going to activate your purpose. And it's kind of, you're getting to the other side of the frustrations of what's held you back, the ways you held yourself back, the ways that you're not walking your talk, the ways that you've invested in things that don't really have true value, where that needs to be realigned. And right now, work on just clearing the channel. And when it feels frustrating, work with some of those suggestions that I brought forward to clear the energy, and then do what you need to do. Take that step, because the first step out of the crossroads is the most important. And you want to make that choice from a very clear place. Clear that channel, clear that channel. And things that you're going to bring on through, the things that you're going to manifest through that clear channel, has the power to transform lives, and it begins with yours.